In this video, we're going to discuss special right triangles. There are two types of special right triangles. The first one is a 45-45-90 triangle. And what that means is that we have one angle that is 90 degrees, and we have two angles that are 45 degrees. Now, because we have these two smaller angles that are 45 degrees each, the two angles are congruent to each other. That means that the opposite sides are also congruent to each other. So we have two angles congruent to each other and two sides. Now, if we were to say that the two legs or sides are our unknown value, so let's write the Pythagorean theorem. We have a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and each of those are listed as x. Remember, c is over here. So we have x squared plus x squared equals c squared. So we have 2x squared equals c squared. Let's find the square root. This cancels. That leaves us with the square root of 2 multiplied by the square root of x squared. Now, when we have this type of situation, we're going to use the square and the square root to cancel each other out. And the square root of c squared becomes c. So these cancel out, leaving us with x times the square root of 2. So c equals x times the square root of 2. Now, here's a hint for you. You do not have to work this all the way out every single time. If you memorize that a 45-45-90 degree triangle has two legs that are x amount and the hypotenuse is x times the square root of 2. Now let's do the first problem together. So we are told that one side is 7. We don't know the other side, so we're going to call it x. And y is our hypotenuse. So if one side is 7 and the next side is x is going to be equal to 7. And y is going to be equal to x times the square root of 2. The value of x is 7, so this side is 7 times the square root of 2. That's your y value. There's one answer. There's your x value. Now pause the video and you do the second one. Now let's look at the second one. On the hypotenuse side, remember that that side equals x times the square root of 2. So 7 equals x times the square root of 2. If you look on the y side, we're calling this y, but remember, y is our x value. This side is our x value, and so is this one. Now let's figure out what these are. So 7 equals x times the square root of 2. Now we have to figure out what x is. So we are going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. By doing so, gets rid of this. That leaves us with x equals 7 over the square root of 2. Now, if it was just a regular 2, we could leave it as is. But the problem is it's a radical, and you are not allowed to have a radical as a denominator. You must bring that radical away. You can have a whole number there, but not a radical. So in order to get rid of that radical, you're going to multiply both top and bottom by the square root of 2. Now the reason that we do that is you have the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. It'll give you the square root of 2 squared. which gets rid of the radical. So these two become 2. On top, we have 7 times the square root of 2 equals x. That's all you have to do. So y equals 7 times the square root of 2 divided by 2. And x times the square root of 2 equals 7. Remember, and you can draw this on your scratch paper for your test. 45, 45, 90 has x, x, and x times the square root of 2.